I received the opportunity to talk to you for a few minutes, actually in the capacity as the vice president of the Union 7, and as somebody who takes part very well, not every day, but usually in the council meetings of the environment ministers, actually, of the European Union. I had the opportunity and the honor to be the president during the Hungarian presidency of the EU Council of the meetings last year. So I won't take much of your time because you have a lot of interesting issues to talk about. Already was mentioned the to be transposed the directive in framework of the European Union, and you have so many issues to talk about in this regard, not only criminal but also civil, constitutional, and administrative aspects. So I don't take the floor from that. I'm only going to share with you some of the experience, some of my experiences in that regard, starting with the UN, because the UN is something that is a little bit further, I think, for every European scholar. It is something that is more romantic than anything that we do here in Europe. So as to the Union 7, it's going to be taking place in December in Nairobi, Kenya. Every 2 years it takes place. Now there were some changes with the dates, but anyway, it is a conglomerate where the states try to follow up on the environmental legislation, the environmental protection, how it stands in the world, and what needs to be developed furthermore. You have to know, as it is the member states who participate there, it's primarily a political issue, but nevertheless there are certain legal elements which can be of interest. So, for instance, when we talk about environmental crimes, we have a draft resolution which was submitted by Peru and Kenya, and it concerns the international response to crimes against the environment, and urges the states to cooperate better, to take the examples of the member states, to have a look at what the others are having as good solutions, best practices, as already been mentioned in the V4 perspective. So we're going to see what's happening. It's very difficult to work with the draft resolution. So if, as scholars, you're expecting that everything that is attempted by the member states, and it's currently on the homepage of UNEA, it's going to be finally adopted at the very end of this week in Nairobi, I have to disappoint you, it won't. So there are certain resolutions which never come to an end. It's a very big topic and a big issue to try to reach till the end of negotiations during that 5 days that the ministers spend there. There was previously already withdrawn, but probably we're going to see it coming up in another perspective. There was an interesting proposal from Vanuatu, a country which actually we might know deals with many environmental, climate-related issues, and put himself on the map of environmental protection. They proposed to talk a little bit more about ecocide issues. I remember that. 13 years ago, we made a conference at the University of Visegrád, where we actually addressed a panel to the question of ecocide. At the time, it was something very new, and it was something that was regarded even by international criminal lawyers as something very, very exotic, something that we know that it exists, but from a legal perspective, something that was really hard to talk about. And in the meantime, also in the framework of the International Criminal Court and among the scholars, it became something more important. So let's see what's happening there. I invite you to follow the developments there and during the Union 7. Especially as it has a special day since last occasion on MEAs, so different international agreements related to the environment. So I think it's going to be something that you're going to be interested in. And as to the European Union, it is a very different cup of tea. We are very ambitious. In many regards, and very cautious in many other regards, which is very, very difficult to find a balance. We just had an extraordinary meeting convened by the Danish presidency 2 days ago, the 4th of this November, for for climate issues. And you may have heard in the news that finally yesterday morning, the 2040 climate targets have been adopted. And I would like to, show this topic here because for V4, it's a very sad day, but it was a very good day. At the other hand, you have to know that that V4 is a conglomerate which they pay attention to in the European Union because the EU level, not only just for us four, but sometimes more countries are joining, just as it happened 2 days ago as well. We try to coordinate what we can in our positions because our challenges are typically similar. Therefore, we do know that our responses should be something closer to our challenges than something that is closer to challenges of countries in the other parts of the European Union. We're very glad that more and more countries are interested in these types of cooperations, and that we do know that also from various aspects, it is essential that the member states find ways to communicate, to coordinate, to cooperate, because that is how we can put on the table perspectives that are may get lost during the processes of international or European legislation. When it comes to the different topics that we're dealing with, the criminal liability issue was just one perspective in which the environment was actually put into the forefront of the EU legislation. There are many other topics which we work on. What we know is that there's this very, very thin balance when it comes to the national sovereignty issues and what we want to do at the EU level. And it's sometimes very difficult to find the right way how to maintain the national capacities. What we see is that it is very important to put an issue, a legislative proposal, an institution to put it at the EU level only if it's really not working, if we do it in 27 different ways. Otherwise, many important aspects get lost, and therefore it's very important to see the work that you're doing, to see the research that should be always call for it, that we should have proper research and proper assessment behind each and every legislative proposal in order to see what we gain with a new EU legislative proposal. We are absolutely against legislating for itself, so it's very good to write directives, but regulations. But it's much more important to do it in a way that it serves the interests of our societies. And therefore, I think that what you're doing here today, also concerning the liability issues, is a topic that is going to be on the table for the many years to come, not only because of the transposing of the directive right now, but also because when you see not only the transpounder aspects, but really criminal activities are one part, but civil liability is another very important part as to the environment. What we see is that the world is changing. You see that there are many new technologies coming in. We are trying to do the green transition. What we see here is that there are many things that haven't existed before. What we need is also the scientific background to see how we're going to deal with the new problems that are going to be introduced in the coming years due to the new technologies or the new solutions that we try to find to the sustainability and environmental challenges that they are facing today. And that is a job that has to be done now, from now on, because otherwise we lose the momentum and we try to solve the upcoming problems with issues, with solutions that were initiated for all problems, and it won't work. So therefore, when we come to this whole greening of the European environments, European economy, we have to see that we are lagging behind when it comes to the legal solutions to the new problems that occur because of this. So therefore, I do think that although you talk about civil, criminal, constitutional, administrative, and liability issues, I think there's going to be one more perspective that you're going to be discussing today, tomorrow, and in the coming years, and that is how do we handle the new challenges? Let it be AI, let it be new resources, let it be international connections when it comes to materials, or materials when it comes to international competition. Whatever, there are many issues which need to be addressed in this period. So I thank you very much for your work in advance too, for the coming years, but what you've reached so far. And I have to reassure you that your work is going to be read. What you write is going to be read by not only by the prosecutors and the justices here, but also by decision makers and their colleagues. And I have to reassure you that this is a job that has to be done. So if you decide to work on it, it's going to be something that is going to make a change in the coming future of the European Union. So thank you very much for your work, and I wish you a very good 2 days.